Assemble. Cassidy Merriweather asked, what was Joss Whedon's first film and how much did it cost? Just saw the Avengers and am marveling, pun intended, at how far he's come on his career. Joss Whedon is a writer-director who, much like J.J. Abrams, began in TV and went on to take over the entire planet. But here's something you might find amazing about Joss Whedon. He's only directed 4 movies. 4. He has, however, directed a lot of TV, which is where we start the complete and total career of Joss Whedon in 5 minutes. Joss got his first job as a young buck working for the show Roseanne in 1989. From there he went on to a short-lived show called Parenthood, which was based off of the earlier Steve Martin movie, which the most recent version of Parenthood was also based on, I don't know, it's very confusing. This version of the show starred Ed Begley Jr. and only lasted a couple of seasons, which was kind of a flop. So that didn't work out so well, but luckily for him, a quirky little screenplay that he'd been shopping around finally got picked up by a studio and given the green light. It was a teen horror comedy movie called Buffy the Vampire Slayer. The Buffy movie would be Joss's first film. Now, he was a total nobody at this point, so he had absolutely no power to direct the development in this film, and what started out as a gritty, angsty teen drama became kind of a silly, campy movie, which wasn't really what he had in mind. And it and he were not taken very seriously by Hollywood. But hey, he was a produced writer, which got him some more work, including his next job, Toy Story. Okay, he was one of 7 writers on Toy Story, but still, Toy Story. Toy Story was a big hit, so it got Joss a little bit of cred, and this time he went back to the studios and said, hey, remember that Buffy thing? He had a vision for this story and he believed in it, so he fought for it, and this time he brought it back as a TV show. And boom, it's a massive hit. It goes on for 7 seasons, and at this point, Joss couldn't walk his dog without getting more writing work. Just some of the films he was hired to work on include The Lion King Part 2, Titan A.E., Alien Resurrection, Atlantis, The Lost Empire, and all the while he's running this juggernaut that is Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which winds up spawning off its own series called Angel, which did pretty well. So it's starting to look like he can do no wrong, which was how he was able to launch an ambitious sci-fi western called Firefly. Now, Firefly had a rabid fan base, and it was really good, but it just was really expensive to make, and it wasn't getting enough ratings to really justify spending the money on it, so it only lasted 14 episodes. And nerds everywhere wept. Now, when Buffy the Vampire Slayer flopped on the big screen, Joss was able to bring it back as a really successful TV show, so this time he thought he'd do the opposite. He took an unsuccessful TV show and tried to make a big hit movie out of it. Serenity was Joss's first film to make. Now, he's directed a whole lot of TV in the past, but this was the first movie he got to write and direct theatrically for the big screen, and the fans loved it. But again, his fans alone couldn't make up the cost of what it took to make this film. It took $40 million to make it, and it only made back $25 million, so it was considered a bit of a flop. His dream of bringing back this passion project was crushed. So now it's 2005, and Joss is in a pretty bad place. In the last 2 years, he's seen 3 TV series canceled, and his big passion project movie flop at the box office. For the next 3 years, he just couldn't quite get the stink of failure off of him. If he was going to get back on top, he had to do something really crazy. And along came Doogie Howser. In 2008, Joss created a web-only musical web series called Dr. Horrible's Sing-Along Blog. Like always, his fans showed up in droves, but unlike Firefly, this was really cheap to make, so it didn't have to get really wide-stream acceptance in order to be successful. It was a huge hit that networks wanted him back. He was able to create a new show called Dollhouse, which only lasted a couple of seasons. Which might have been a bad thing, but this time he had somebody knocking on his door. A little company called Marvel. Kevin Feige, the head of Marvel Entertainment, decided he wanted to do more than just make movies based off of the characters in the comic books. He wanted to create an interconnected stream of movies called the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And he needed people with some geek cred to pull that off. Joss Whedon super fit this bill. Joss worked as a writer and a story consultant on Thor and Captain America before being given the reins to the tent pole to end all tent poles, The Avengers, in 2012. And in case you're keeping count, yes, The Avengers was Joss Whedon's second movie. The Avengers went on to be one of the most successful movies in the history of ever, and Joss Whedon became one of the most sought-after people in Hollywood. The stink of failure was completely gone. But here's why Joss Whedon is awesome. After making one of the biggest movies of all time, he made his next movie in his own backyard. Literally. Shot in a span of only just a few days, Joss brought in some of his actor friends and did a modern interpretation of Shakespeare's Much Ado About Nothing. He shot it literally in his own house. That was his third movie. Over the next couple of years, he helped Marvel launch their TV series Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which he served as a writer and executive producer on. And of course, he followed all that up with the second Avengers movie, Avengers Age of Ultron, which did okay. So, what are some takeaways here? 1, we all start small. He began as a peon writer for some failing TV shows, and the first movie that got made, he had absolutely no control over how it got done. Second, he believed in his vision. Even after Buffy proved to be box office poison, he believed in his idea of this story enough to turn it into one of the most successful TV shows of the last 30 years. Third, third is you can always get knocked down no matter how good you're doing. Literally, you're always as good as your last project. But fourth, when you do wind up on your ass, sometimes you gotta do something really crazy to get back on top. And five, know your bread and butter. Even when he was at his lowest point, he knew he had a fan base, and he catered to them and helped them to bring him back up to the top of the game. As for what's next for Joss, many speculate that he's soon going to be leaving the Marvel Cinematic Universe and going on to do his own thing. He recently hinted in an interview that he had an idea for a turn-of-the-century superheroine type movie, which sounds pretty darn interesting to me. Whatever he does next, if history is any guide, it's going to be pretty awesome. Joss Whedon is a creative force to be reckoned with, and I don't know about you, but I will be first in line. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If this is your first time here, you can check out some of the other videos on my channel and any of the playlists next door to me right here. If you like what you saw, please give me a thumbs up. That tells Google to show me to more people. And if you want us to get more of this, just hit subscribe. I come back every Monday with cool, thought-provoking videos that give you a unique and interesting perspective on the world to help you become more interesting around your friends and the water cooler at work. Hit me up at any of my social media places down below, and if you have a question you would like answered, you can ask me there or in the comments of this video, and I might put you in my next video. So who's your favorite filmmaker, and what can you learn from their career? Alright, thanks everybody for watching. Go out there and have a great week. Love you guys. Take care. One is that we all start small. He began as a peon junior writer at some really failed TV shows back in the day. In his first movie, he had absolutely no direction into what